So as far as starting off with our monthly and weekly support and resistance zones. So right here at the top, you guys see that there is some exhaustion here, right? We have that resistance. And I think we called that out in the past webinar. And we also have some support here, right? Those are the two big areas that I can see that where we're at currently within the market, right? I don't like to go too far back, but you are able to go far, as far back as you want. But if you guys see areas like this was respected here, was respected there, we can even, I think that's pretty much as far as it goes. But this area right here was a big area back here, right? So that's as much as I'm going to do right now in the monthly. Like I said, I'm more of a scalper. I used to do it intraday a lot, but I got tired of waiting 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days for trades to play out. So but the same exact setup that I would take on my intraday trades is the exact same setup that I take on my scalping trades. So first thing that we're seeing right now is we are at this major monthly support. All right, that's the first thing. We're at major monthly support. Let's go down to the weekly. Now, if we have this downtrend right here, right on the weekly time frame, let's see, put it like right here. Remember, your trend lines are always point A, point B into the future, right? So this downtrend broke out, retested, failed to go lower, right? And create lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. So what are we seeing? We're seeing that monthly support is a very strong support, right? So if we get into a little bit more detail, I'll go ahead and draw a weekly support area, which is where we're at. So pretty much what we're seeing from the market right now is that we are rejecting the support area, right? I would go as far as to say that we are consolidating, right? There's no true direction in the market. The market isn't telling us that it's going up. The market isn't telling us that it's going down, right? Which anything can happen. Both things can happen, right? But as we're observing the market right now, all we can see is that we are in this range. So we do have this support area right here. And let's go ahead and draw that resistance. All right. So we're right in the middle of it, right? We're right in the middle of it. And right where we're at is actually this area right here, which I'll go ahead and put this right here, but this will pop up probably on the daily or the H4 time frame, that area of resistance that we're hitting right now. So we're right there, right in the middle of the range. All right, perfect. Let's go ahead and move. So what do we have so far? So far, we have monthly support being respected. We have weekly support being respected. We have this area of consolidation, which is about 500 pips. I mean, this is the weekly time frame, right? So it's about a 500 pip area of consolidation, which is more than enough room to take trades, week in and week out. So we're right in the middle of the range, right? So let's go ahead and go down to the daily. Before I leave the weekly, I want to mark one more thing off. I'm actually going to mark off one more area that seems to be respected a little bit more than that bottom area. So if we're getting into a little bit more detail, that area right there, we have a double bottom on the weekly time frame. So that's very strong, right? A double bottom in any uptrend is strong at a lower high point, right? But a double bottom on the weekly time frame, that's even stronger. So that's where we're at. Let's go down to the daily time frame. Going to reset the chart. All right. So the daily time frame, we see pretty much what we were saying in the weekly. We're right in the middle of the range, right? Now, this is what I wanted to show you guys, and this is where you guys are really going to like this Zoom, because we have a clean setup. And obviously I'm talking, because I've already been looking at the charts today, but we have a clean setup that we can catch. Let's go ahead and go down to the 4-hour time frame. If you guys see, when price rejected this resistance area, shot it down, that trend broke out, retested, right? It retested that, right? Retested that, right? You could have entered. However, it did go back to 100% pullback, right? And that, I mean, honestly, that could have taken out a lot of traders, right? Because it pulled back so strong. It pretty much came back to 100%. So if you grabbed your fibs and you placed it from the low to the high, that would have been a perfect, 50% pretty much retracement, right? To enter that. However, this is crazy, right? If you notice that this pullback right here, this is a crazy part about it, actually started this pullback, which was the original pullback for this breakout. If you guys see what I mean. So this was the actual breakout right here, right? That's when price created this point right here, right? Which was higher than these points right here, right? So we got a higher high. So it didn't have an actual simple pullback. It actually broke out, retested it, right? And then pulled back. So this would be our official pullback point to this breakout right here. You guys see what I mean? Because I'm going to delete all of this, but this broke out, retested, right? Retested that. This was once support, broke it, created it as resistance, dropped down. So when you place your fibs, your A, B, and C, this would have been your A, this would have been your B, and this is the true C right here. Right? That leads you to your D. Right? So A, B, C, D. Right? And it went all the way to negative 27%. Well, it's on its way. Right? So that would have been the true point. Now, this is the beautiful part about this right here. Let me go and delete all these things right here. All right, so you guys see where we're at, right? So we pulled back. We got that point at the C. Now we're at the D. So once we completed it, once we got to the D, that's it. That play is done, right? Because that's how you use your fibs, right? Your fibs is A, B, C, D. That's the whole point of using fibs, is to catch the D. You want to catch, the where you exit the market, right? You negative 27%, you negative 61.8. You pretty much want to catch these, pretty much your TPs. This would be your first TP, 0%, negative 27, and 61.8. Those are your three TPs right there. And you can, however you guys stack your trades, you guys can do that. So now that we're done with that play and we know that the market is heading bullish, let's go and get rid of this fibs, because that play is done. We're completely done with that play. So let's go down to the 1 hour time frame. And this is the thing about this breakout right now. It looks a little bit more cleaner on the 4 hour. right? But you have this sort of downtrend. All right. This downtrend that broke out. And we'll do the same play again. We'll do the same play again. And this, honestly, this would be like right here. I'm probably going to give you guys like 1 or 2 trades right here. Right. So, number one, we have this downtrend that broke out. You place your fibs from low to high. Right. So, what are your possibilities? The possibilities is this point right here, which is right at the 61.8. And I can't make this up. Like this literally just popped up right now as you guys were seeing me create this. Right. So let's get rid of the fibs. All we have right now is a higher high point right here. Right. All we have right now is this higher high point. So we obviously got to get a pullback. Right. Now, is a pullback going to be 61.8? Who knows? Is it going to be 23.6 continuation? Possibly. Is it going to be, 38.2? Possibly. But we're going to get ready for anything. And this is how I'm going to get you guys ready. So you put your fibs from low to high. All right. A possible point that we can look, because right now we're looking for our C. Right now we're looking for our RC, right? A possible thing that can happen is this 61.8 can get touched, right? And it can continue this way back up, right? So if it gets touched there, get rid of that. Right? We have a good 250 pips to play with. This is on the H4 time frame. You guys that were on the webinar with me 2 weeks ago, I called USD CAD bullish, heading towards this direction. You know what I mean? And it's slowly starting to work its way up. But I'm gonna give you guys something right now. This is how we're gonna catch trades both ways. This is the H4 time frame we're dealing with. So these trades take a long time to play out. All right. They don't just happen from night to day. So yeah, so we're looking for our C point. Now, what we're going to look for in order to enter this pullback, keep in mind, the markets can open tomorrow. We can go 23.6. And when I mean 23.6, right, is that it can go right here at 23.6, right? It can simply just do this and boom, continue its way up, right? It'll respect this area right here. That's not what I wanted. It'll respect this area right here. It can respect this area right at 20. You see, that's crazy how things line up. Like I'm literally marking this up as we're talking right now. Look how perfectly that area, this right here, lined up with 23.6. Like I literally cannot make this up. Right? Or it can go down to this area right here, which is more of a 38.2. Right? As you guys see right here, 38.2. Or we can fall even lower. There's an area there's a hidden, zone right here, which is at the 61.8. Right? So either way, we're going to be ready for this pullback, right? So this is the way that we're going to catch it. And I'll show you guys. We're going to go down to the H1 time frame. And unless we get a break on the H1 time frame, we're not taking any sales. We're not taking any sales. As a matter of fact, we'll probably look for buys, right? Because keep in mind, even though we are at a high point in the market, we're still going into a Monday. And Monday, anything can happen. The market's been closed for 2 days, for Saturday and Sunday. So there could be backed up news. There could be so many things, right? That Monday morning, it can explode, right? So how do we take buys off the H1? This is what I love right here. This is more of like where I come in with the scalping game. You go down to the lower time frames. and you wait for resistance. No, support. You wait for support to be broken. Right. So you guys see this so far. We're respecting this area. That area is a little thick, but you guys see that, right? We also had this area right here. Based off, this is a 30-minute. Right. So this was our last area right here. Right. Our last support zone. Price can come back and do this. It can come back and do this. Right. And then just say, just take off. Right. Which can happen. It literally can happen. So that's why you got to be ready. You got to be ready because you can possibly still take some buys. This bullet or this rocket ship can still have some fuel behind it. Right. So that can happen. Now, unless this area breaks, right, we get a retest, we'll take sells. Now, if you take a sell, right, you always want to look at the last areas. With sells, you have to be very precise. You can't take sells when you're counter trending like you take like when you're trading with the trend. Why? Because with the trend, you actually have goals that you can meet. Like, for example, you can say at 0%, I'm going to take my first take profit. At negative 27, I'm going to take my second. And at negative 61.8, I'm going to take my third. And I'm going to move my stop loss to break even and just let the trade right out. Right? When you're counter trending, you can't do that. So when you're counter trending, you want to either say, I'm going to take 20 pips and bounce, 20, 30 pips, whatever you like, or you can just look at the previous support zones as it's working its way down, right? Or I'm going to give you guys another one. So you guys can look at this one, right? And say, boom, I can take a profit there. Right here is an area as well. I can take a profit there, and if you really want to be risky, but this is, you have to, if you're going this low, like you don't want to let your whole trade right down this low. You just don't want to do that. You can aim for those areas right there. Right. And this can possibly give you 50 pips, about 50 pips to the first TP, 117 pips to the second TP, and 192 pips to the third TP. If you're aiming for, honestly, on pullbacks, if you're aiming for, TP2s and TP3s, I would definitely always move my stops to break even. Definitely, because you never know when the market can just be like I'm out of here. Like, whoop, I'm out of here. So that's if we get a break right here, right? There's no guarantee that we will. It can just continue going up, right? So let's say, for example, this would be, let's say if we put it right above it, 45 pips to catch 50 pips, pretty much like a 1-to-1. This one would be 45 pips stop loss to catch 114 pips. If you're aiming for this second TP, you definitely got to close in this stop loss, to 10 pips. If you're aiming for that, and then if you're aiming, for this one, I would definitely, take partials. So that's what we're looking to do. So for this week, in order to catch that pullback on USD CAD, we need a break of the M30, or let's go a little bit lower. Oh, and one more thing I was going to tell you guys. That's the other thing I was going to tell you guys. This right here, like I told you guys in my previous webinars, this is my 50 SMA, right? When price is above it, you look for buys. When price is below it, you look for sells, right? And you can pretty much backtest it, but you have to trade it with the flow, right? Because if you took this buy right here, you would have been fucked because it came down this way. You know what I mean? So you have to trade with the flow. So so that is my 50 SMA. And this is my 8 EMA, my 8 MA. My 8 MA. So when these two cross, that is a confirmation or a confluence for me to take a buy or a sell. How I've said it in my previous webinars, right? So when you get something like this one right here, right? See how it is right here. Let's say it starts going this way, right? And then it crosses, and then you get this one right here that crosses over that right there. If you guys notice any of my charts that I've posted, if you guys go on my IG and see my post, there will always that cross will always be there. That's just like my bread and butter. And on the especially on the M1 time frame, because that's when I'm scalping the market like really early in the morning. So that right there. So pretty much what are we waiting for here? We're waiting for this uptrend to break. Let's go and get rid of all of this. All right, we're waiting for this uptrend to break. Because it's so like steep, it's so high, you want an area of resistance to break, to fully break. You need a lower low. You need a lower low. You can't just have, like something that looks like a break only because it's so steep. It can just be a minor pullback and then continue its way up. You know what I mean? Or if you guys want to take buys, we can even go. I mean, this is more like a scalping thing, but you know, this is what I do. This is what I do in the mornings. I come in and I start marking off if I'm at the floor, at the ceiling. All right. So if you guys see, right? If you guys see this, like I would have taken that right there. Right. So overall, we're in an uptrend, right? We created a high, pulled back. Broke out, retested. All right, we got 10 minutes left. Retested, shot up, worked its way down. This big old wick would have been a confirmation, worked its way down, worked its way up. With the cross, look at the cross right here. And this is on the 5 minute, exactly what I showed you guys. This cross is deadly, bro. Like it's deadly. I kid you guys not, it's deadly. If you guys would have waited all this out, right? Because I usually do this. I wait for pullbacks to break out, especially when I'm trading, like scalping it. Right. Oh, that would have been beautiful. I mean, I would have look, uptrend, breakout, retest, 2 confirmations, respecting support, 3 confirmations, this wick, 4 confirmations. This area of support right here was being created, 5 confirmations. Oh my gosh, I would have been in that trade already. You know what I mean? This cross right here, 6 confirmations, right? This other breakout right here, 7 confirmations, retest to the breakout, 8 confirmations. Bro, I would have definitely got in right there. I would have placed my stop right below. If I was doing, when I scalp, I only aim for 10 pips, 10, 15 pips. So let's say, for example, if I would have aimed for, let's say 15 pips, boom, that would have got hit with probably like 0 drawdown because we had so many confirmations. We literally had 8 confirmations to enter this trade. You know what I mean? So what we want to see is we definitely want to see some supports being broken. All right. So you guys pretty much got the idea. Why do I feel like I should have erased that? All right. So you guys pretty much got the idea, right? We're looking for point C in the market to get to our final point, right? So this can possibly continue going up tomorrow morning. That's perfectly fine. But unless we get, let's go to the 30-minute. We'll go to the 30-minute. All right, perfect. All right. So unless we get a break of this uptrend and the cross of the EMA and of the MA and the SMA with a retest, we're not taking this trade. Right. So we need to see something like this. This EMA come over, this SMA cross. We'll enter trades right there. We'll take that down. So that right there, that's the exact same setup that I want to see for the buy, right? So this week we're going to focus on our C point, right? I only have about 6 minutes left in this webinar. So remember, we're looking for, so we already got our A point. All right, we got our A. We got our B. I showed you guys how to catch a pullback. All right. Now we're going to look for our C. And I'm going to say potentially because it's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed that 61.8 is going to be our exact point. It could be 38.2. It could be 50%. It could be 23.6, but potentially 61.8. Now, to finish it off, how are we going to catch our C, right? To get our actual uptrend trade that we're looking for. And I'm going to have to draw it out for you guys because obviously there's no candlesticks for that has created yet. But the same way that we're waiting for this trend to break on a 30-minute, right? And retest, right? We're going to wait for it to come back down. And we're going to wait for it to break out, retest, we'll enter right there on a 30-minute. And then we'll catch hopefully our big move right there. So guys, this right here, man, this is free game right here. You know, you can potentially, and actually before I move on, you want to see this right here. You want to see this cross. You want to see this cross. If you just trade crosses, man, it makes you a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? This cross right there gave you 130 pips. This cross right there gave you 130 pips. You literally could have taken 2 trades and not lost. Right? H4 crosses are the strongest ones. So, yeah, pretty much that's what you want to see. You want to see the 8, you know, MA go. And you want to see a cross. As you get the breakout and the retest, it all works together. It's like an engine. Like you have your engine, your transmission, your wheels, like a car. Like it all works together to make the car run. You know, so you got to get the breakout, you got to get the retest, you got to get the cross. You know, if you don't get a retest, and how do you actually catch this retest? How do you know this retest is over? See, that's a whole different thing. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna blow you guys' mind on that one, because that one you wait for the 5-minute to break and retest, or the 1 minute. That's how you know that pullback is over. That's how you know it's a true retest, right? So for right now, we'll leave it at that. You know, you guys want to wait for the 30-minute to break and retest, cross of the MA and SMA, drop down, wait for the exact same thing down here. You know what I'm saying? Wait for the exact same thing down here. You know, wait for them to cross, retest. You got to get at least 3-4 confirmations, then you take your buys.